Welcome, Sexy Wookiees, to another episode of the Sexy Wookiee Squadcast. We're reading a brand new book, Star Wars: The Paradise Snare by A.C. Crispin. Let's see. I'm just going to read it off here because I can't remember
Ooh.
it. I'm just a little bit more of an individual one, I guess you'd say. It's your boy,
Aw.
Sexy Leader.
Hey, you girl, sexy one.
Hey, it's your simp, sexy too.
Let go.
Get to use my Wookiee bookmark again.
Oh, it's so cute.
So excited. So today was chapters 1 through 5.
Oh, that's right. I didn't say that.
I feel like we've gotten through, we're like halfway through or something. It's so gigantic, but
So basically, yeah,
Easy
we're
read,
reading
though.
this book in 3 parts.
yeah.
And
Yes.
Ambitious for us.
crazy enough, I don't have any stickies, but that's because I was so engrossed in the story, I kept forgetting to put stickies, and I was like, I'm too far
just
in.
like keep going. It was really engaging. The pacing was really good. There was already action and emotion and new characters and character deaths. Like, wow, in 5 chapters we really got somewhere. So it's fun. This wasn't ever one of my favorite Legends books. I thought it was just a little bit weird and campy and kind of on the nose too much. But it's a good read. It's fun. So I hope you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ronald's pick. So does it feel like Star Wars again?
It does. It's
There's
you
not
know,
lightsabers yet, but we got a lot of
shares,
aliens.
but they're talking about Jedi, so I mean,
They did mention them.
so and archaeology. Dun, dun, dun.
I just find it really interesting, like every time we read something that's canon and something that's legends, like just the way that
back
things
and
are
forth.
written are so unique
Yeah.
that as soon as I start reading something like this is legends, this is
Isn't
canon.
it weird that you can just tell by, I don't know, like the confidence of the writer to just spill world building and details, I guess. I don't know. That's to me the difference, I think. Because this is just like all the metaphors are like in universe stuff that we really shouldn't understand. And we're like, I don't even know what that means, but it sounds right for Star Wars. And using all the slang and this planet, this kind of alien, and here's what this people does and why. And yeah, I don't know. It feels very immersive. And I don't know why, but I feel like that's what the difference with the canon books is. I don't know if they're hesitant or they're trying to really ground it in something more relatable and real worldy, but they never are slinging Star Wars terms and ships and aliens and slang quite as much. I don't know.
I think with me, with reading this from a canon book and a Legends book, I'm starting to see, yes, these authors that are in the Legends books, they stick more to closer to the original movies.
Yeah.
And it seems like when they were writing these books, they didn't have, like, kind of like what you were saying, a restriction or something. I feel like canon has a little bit more, not a restriction, but a rules they have to follow in order for the story to connect. Unlike this one, you didn't have to connect to the movies. You can take all the same traits of its characters and things like that, but you get to offhand a free story kind of thing.
Yeah, this was Solo, what we got in the Solo origin story, the movie. This was kind of the equivalent of it back in the day. Is like, oh, how Han got to be where he was and the kind of person that he is. So this was that, and it was completely understrayed. All they had to do was get him to the point of the original trilogy, which I suppose you could say is what the purpose of Solo was.
We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Ooh, comparisons.
Yeah.
It is interesting. I forgot to check what year this was.
Yeah, that's always a good thing I think we should do when it comes to Legends books.
Before the prequels, I'm sure.
Check these.
This one says copyright 1997.
Okay, before
90s.
the prequels.
Yeah.
So this was all we had to go on at this time was the OT.
Yeah.
So it really was a free for all in the galaxy. Those were the days of Legends.
I really like that.
Very cool. All right. So what's our first official question?
Okay, so it kind of does go back into like, so it's basically comparing Legends Han to Canon Han, more specifically when we were reading Most Wanted, because we got a lot more from that than we
Right.
did from Solo. So, how did you feel reading about Han's original background compared to what little we know from Most Wanted? So, with both of them, we don't know too much. We know more in Legends, but just the way that he kind of grew up is different in Most Wanted and Paradise Snare. So I'm just curious about your guys' like comparisons and just thoughts, feelings, everything.
Yeah, that's right. Because besides the movie, we did read the book Most Wanted, which was a little bit even younger Han, which this book has the flashbacks that would cover that period. So it's really hard trying to keep it all straight. There are certain aspects of this Han that I like better. I like that Solo is a real family name and that he's trying to figure out who his parents were. I don't like that it was like an on the nose, oh, you're alone, therefore we're going to name you Solo, like it is in new canon. So I like that aspect, but I like the aspect of him being part of this like underground gang on Corellia from Most Wanted slightly more than being, I don't know, an abused foster child on a spaceship doing the same things, thieving and conning people. And flying spaceships. I like his street racing backstory a little bit more that we got from Most Wanted. So a little bit here, a little bit there. I like that in this book we've learned that he's got an affinity for languages, that he was practically raised by this Wookiee, and that's why he can sort of understand Wookiee and can't really speak it. Like I like that a lot more than we got in canon, which is just I don't know. He just speaks Wookiee. He just does. I don't know why. Like he understands languages. He just cuz. But in this, it's like no, he's actually really smart, and he was forced to study and learn math and learn science and learn languages. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I like that explanation a little more.
Yeah, I kind of agree with a lot you said. I like Legends more because I that's what I think um, the movie missed, and as Most Wanted missed. They miss where like his childhood and how he became the way he became. Like when you look at Most Wanted, it's already I already know how to do this, this, and this, and you're basically an adult at this point.
Yeah.
Like there's no adolescence. There's not even um, you're basically adult, like I said. So that's what the movie and Most Wanted had given us. Nonetheless, that was a great story. But now reading this, I like how it went back from he didn't know who he was. The reason why he's so, uh, that why him and Chewie is such a
Mm.
thing because he told about, and hopefully this is not one of your questions later on, but he told Delana,
Dulana.
Dulana, I gotta say Dulana that
Do
Dulana
it.
Wamapia. if I, I tried.
Good
Uh,
job.
but he said to her before she passed that I'm gonna repay you in a way that to your people. So he's talking about the Wookiees at this point, and
Yeah.
that just impacted me so much that I was like,
Mm.
this is why him and Chewie are like, besties of the best because
Yeah.
this, this mother like figure to him,
Mm-hmm.
basically raised him, and that's really cool because it's like a passing of the torch. We see Dulana pass, and then honestly, what we know in the future is when he meets Chewie is such a big thing, and now I can connect that in a way, even though
Yeah.
that's not the story. I'm gonna go by with that. That's the story to me. Um, I love everything else. The swoop racing, the new characters, they're ready to go. Like, but this Legends has really given me hope to understanding this character more, and Han is really becoming one of my top three
Mm.
characters now. Like Corellian boys, let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Loving it. All right, Jasmine.
I So I kind of have to agree with Megan on the part where I thought it's more interesting seeing him in a street gang, because then that would make a lot more sense for like his street smarts and all that versus the abused foster kid, which is kind of, I don't know, it just felt like when I was reading it, I was just kind of like, I couldn't connect with that part. It just didn't feel like Han. Like he just feels like more like when we see him in episode 4, you're just like, hey, look at this like street hard guy.
Yeah.
And then reading this, I'm like,
it was like Oliver Twist. I was like, this poor little kid.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. And I was like, I'm not quite vibing with that. I kind of like what they did in Most Wanted better. But I do like that we do kind of get to know more about his family. Even though I feel like it was so weird.
It was weird.
It made me like, usually things don't make me uncomfortable, but I was uncomfortable reading about like his cousin and just,
it was too much like real like true crime serial killer shows that we watch. I was like, oh,
yeah, I was
heck?
like, this doesn't feel like fantasy. This doesn't even feel like Han. I did like that they made him kind of sensitive.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of in Solo, you know, like he was sensitive to you know, the cause that Infosness was talking about, and like you could tell he cared about people, even though like he had his street smarts and he knew like, hey, I need to look out for me. I still really like that he looked out for other people. So I do like the sensitivity part in this, but just the whole thing with the cousin and the twist, I was like,
it's so heavy-handed. I'm like, what?
It just like, I mean, I get it. It's a big galaxy. Stuff like that is bound to happen. But for Han, I was like, it doesn't actually make sense, at least to me. So I was kind of like, But it was still really interesting to read, at least.
It's interesting to know that there's a mystery about his family, that he wants to know where he came from. Whereas I don't get the sense of that from Most Wanted or Solo. That it's just kind of like, nah, I'm alone. And that's just how it is.
Yeah, it feels like he just accepted that like at such a young age that he's like, yeah, whatever. Versus in this where he's like, I need to know.
Yeah. So it's different. It's an interesting thing. I like that there is like this legacy of the Solo family, and part of it is royalty and then part of it is like piracy. Like, so it's got that good and that bad side. So like, which one did I descend from? I don't know. I thought that was a really interesting note for him.
Oh yeah, definitely. So going off of that, can you imagine him actually like as an aristocrat or a socialite? Like, can you picture that?
Like when he would disguise himself as the rich kid to snare the other people, or
well, like no, like because you know how part of his family is like royalty or whatever.
Oh, right.
So just imagine, like, can you imagine him being part of that?
Well, at some point he'd have to play the part because he marries a princess / senator / general, whatever she becomes. Like he has to become a respectable dude. And I don't know,
respectable
like,
to a sense, like,
so against his nature.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kept thinking of stinking Spaceballs, where Lone Star finds out he's a prince, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, here we go.
Oh god, those were the vibes I was getting.
Yeah.
I was like,
please
why
don't make him
familiar?
a prince. Oh no. Yeah, that would be that'd be funny. There are books where he tries to like clean up and impress Leia, and it's just not him. He's like, no, I like you because of how you actually are. So yeah, that's kind of always a struggle with Han. Is that the official question? Like, can you imagine Han as a...
Yeah, no, like dead ass. Like, I just want to know, can you guys picture that? Because yeah, I was kind of getting a...
I could picture like little kid Han who was trying to figure out who he was and where he was from, that like he would embrace that. If he found out that that was his heritage, he'd be like, heck yeah, I'm important. Like, and actually try to live up to it. I think older Han, who's just kind of given up on the world, would be like, nah, that stuff's not for me.
Yeah.
But ambitious little Han would probably be like, yeah, I'm a prince. I don't know. Ron, what do you think?
Well, yeah, probably if he was a kid and he's still trying to look for the family and tracing the line, yes, probably he'd try to fit in it. Yeah, you're right. The older one probably not so much.
Mhm.
But this kind of just reminded me, yeah, the Lone Star thing is one that reminds you of it. And then
I'm
I
a
think
prince.
this kind of happens in Aladdin 3, the animated. So
Yes. Oh my
I
gosh, it's
think
a
he is a
thing.
Prince of Thieves, right? Is what it's called.
Wait, is
Yeah.
that the
So
second or the third one?
no, because the second one is Return of
Return of
Jafar.
Jafar.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, so then that's what, like, I don't know why that Aladdin movie always pops in my head when something like this happens.
Mhm.
So it's always that Aladdin movie that reminds me of that.
The
Okay, well,
rogue that
you
finds
were a
out he's
prince
actually royalty.
all along, all
It's a
along.
trope.
Yeah, yeah. So I like the idea of it. I'd like to just keep in my head that he's the, the thief slash pirate
Yeah.
smuggler that we know. If they go more into it, then it's cool. I'd like to hear more about the history of what these books, probably if they had it in there. So if they go more deep into it, cool. If not, but I kind of want to do, because who's the bad guy? Forgetting his name already.
Shrike?
Shrike, Captain Shrike. So
Captain Shrike.
Captain Shrike, like when he says it to the Wookiee, was when I was like, oh, okay, what does he know that they have to try to figure out? So it seems like you can't kill this guy without
Mm.
knowing what that's, because like if you kill him and you don't find out, I think it's done. Like,
And Han
and
didn't kill him, so he's still out there.
yeah, yep. So I don't kill him yet before we find out, so we know.
We can find
But
out.
that's all I have.
Jazz, what about you?
Um, Gosh, I don't know. Like when I was reading about, he was really liking and fitting in with the other elites during his undercover stuff. I was like, okay, I could see it. But like you said, older Han, I'm just like, nah. And so then because we know older Han just so much more,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, okay, no, I can picture it even less now, despite the fact that AC Crispin described it so well. I picture it less just because of what we know from the movies.
Yeah. I think the potential was there when he was younger, but something happens and he gets jaded and it just is not, the potential is gone for older Han. Sorry, buddy.
Rip. Ready for your next question?
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay, this isn't really a question. I just want to fangirl about this with you guys. Do Lana and his love for Wookiees, just like Ronald pointed out earlier, he was like, pay it back to your people, best friends with Chewie. And I'm like,
it all happened so fast, but I don't know, this author like really knew how to write everything in such a way where you immediately connected to this character. You like felt that she was kind of strong and serious, but like really caring, really tender, really loyal. The fact that she is on the ship because she followed her mate, and like even after he died wouldn't go back to the planet to be with her own kids because she wanted to protect Han. Like I was like, oh my gosh, come on. Like wow, that's like immediate, like, oh, these guys, that's family, like right off the bat. And then goes down protecting him, like trying to give him the money and like, oh,
Yeah, I
I was
know,
like,
right?
Delana.
oh,
And then
it
just
was so
poor
cute.
Han trying to like hold her and understand what she's saying as she's like, I can't. Um, yeah, and like I like that it wasn't just this cinematic tragic action scene to open the book, that like it continues to haunt him
Yeah.
further and further on. We're like nearly halfway through this thing and he's still like will think about her, remember her, and like be like, I have to make something of myself for her sake. Like she died so that I could have a chance, so I can't give up. Like I have to do this. I like that it really did mean something. It wasn't just this well, I'm going to throw this setup so that you know why he likes Chewbacca so much. Like, it actually is a character defining growth moment.
Yeah.
And in such a short amount of time, I felt like we got to know her and her motivations so well that, like, it, I don't know, I felt that loss. And I'm like in holding on set reading this, like, don't ruin your makeup right now. No. Like,
Oh.
oh, it was so good. It was so sad. But yeah, I think it's a great motivation, a great explanation for why he's so attached to Wookiees, why he can kind of speak it, because from childhood he had to.
Yeah.
And a great motivation for him going forward to try his best to make something of himself for her. So that's great character, great opening, kicking him off onto his journey.
Yeah, what can you say? How can you not love Wookiees at this point? Knowing that their softer side is this way, no matter the males or females, and they're just great species to begin with.
Softer side, but then did you notice how she ripped the dude's arm out?
Yeah,
Or
right,
like
right, right.
completely
Amazing.
shattered it? I was like, hence the line later when he's like, they'll rip your arm off if they, yeah.
So yeah, it's true. It's yeah, connecting that to that part of the movie where they don't, a Wookiee doesn't pull your sockets out, right?
Yeah.
Uh
That was
with
cool.
that part, I'm just gonna say everything about Dulana is motherly love, like protecting her, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like a lioness protecting
Mama
her
bear.
youngest cub.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a mama bear like protecting her youngest cub. Um, it was everything like to the point where, and sorry, I'm gonna relate this to so much Disney right now. Um, when Han, he puts like he tries to go tuck under her shoulder. I said like when she's when she already gets shot in the
Yeah.
chest. It reminded me of like little Simba trying to tuck under his Mufasa's
Aw.
arm,
Why
and
you
I was
gotta do
just like,
this?
man, this
Mhm.
is like, I mean, this is everything. uh it's just motherly love, man, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a human. Like
Yeah.
this is showing you that like this is Wookiee species is really really caring to just people they don't even know. Right, and
Mm-hmm.
she gave him a chance, and like it worked as like a mother son kind of thing, and I can relate to that a lot, and so it was very like, man,
You
it
felt
hit me
that.
right away when
Oh.
all the action was happening at the beginning. I was like, whoa, where we go with this? We're already what do we call it? We running gun already
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of this book. So yeah, that scene, if that's what made me like the book already, because it started off with that. And this shows you a clear difference of, like, I just want to make a quick comparison
Oh yeah.
how the White Worms leader treated Han, with
Oh,
always
good
threats of like killing
comparison.
him. So there's no difference between the one who beats him up in Trader's Luck
Yeah.
than the White Worms, like always trying to say,
Mhm.
"Hey, Han." But there was also that motherly love that worm gave to him, just in a different way. But man, when I read this Wookiee way, it was more of like the mom, like you said, Megan, the how doesn't let you leave home without giving you credits.
Yeah.
And what was it, like a sweater that was made out of Wookiee fur or whatever?
Oh, it was her
I was just like,
purse.
what? Oh, it was.
Coin
I was
purse.
like, I thought it was gonna give her like a sweater that's made out of her fur.
You'll catch cold
And
in that
then
spaceship.
lastly was that, like, because she was a cook, like,
Mm-hmm.
where Shrike says she's not a good cook. I doubt it. But it's like the mom that would bake you cookies or whatever, and won't let you go hungry or whatever. So
Yeah.
I just see her baking like on cookies and stuff
It
like
was
that.
such a
So
perfect
yeah.
set like where they were. Like, she's kneading the bread. It's so motherly. It's so,
Mhm.
she's in the kitchen, almost grandmotherly. She's
Yeah.
making the bread and they're kind of having this, oh, you're gonna do that, are you? Okay, sure. Like, argument. Like, I don't know, that the setting was just perfect. I immediately got the relationship and got the mood. And yeah, it was very, very well written. And I the whole time I'm thinking, oh, Jasmine's gonna love this. She's like a total fangirl for the found family trope. So, and then we even get a little bit of the secret name trope later on with the girl that he meets. So I was like, this is all Jasmine's favorite stuff.
Hey.
So how did you like Dulana?
Oh my gosh. I like, even though we met her and 2 seconds later she was killed, with the flashbacks, I was like, I would fight and die for this Wookiee in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Someone could just look at her wrong and I'd bring out a vibro blade and be like, why'd you look at her that way?
Yep.
I loved her so much, and I thought it was really sweet how just as their relationship together, and it kind of reminded me of something that I read on Tumblr, like, I don't know how long ago, but so you know how Wookiees kind of like live forever?
Yeah.
They live so long. And so this post was about Han and Chewie, but then I kind of was thinking about it in terms of like Han and Dulana. And so basically like Chewie and Han, their friendship, it's basically like Han is his dog. And so like, you know, as soon as a dog passes, maybe get a new one. And so like just new thing, like new people to get attached to, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of laughing at that, but then I was thinking about like in terms of Han and Dulana, and I was like, her puppy.
Yeah. She fought for that puppy.
She loves her little puppy, not even her little son. She loves her little puppy because she'd probably still outlive him because Wookiees live forever.
That's a good point.
And what's crazy is the time of this book is not far from episode 3, I would think, because it seems like, you know, you have post Clone Wars
12
ships.
or so years before.
Wait, 3 or do you mean 4?
Oh, episode 3, because it's like
you're,
you know, Wookiees would have been like enslaved at this point, right?
Well, some,
but it's like, you know, they're not in Kashyyyk. Damn it, Kashyyyk. Yeah, so
Almost.
I think it's like, you know, there's we don't know what her family was, you know, part of that. If not, I mean, I think it said she was 600 years old, so it's not like, you know, she lived through the Clone Wars. So what happened? Like, what happened to her family that she has to protect Han?
Yeah.
So
Who knows?
something must have happened. Who knows? And I wish they would probably go back into that a little bit more, just while we're in this first book kind of thing, before we get into the good stuff.
Nope. That was it.
Oh.
That's her story. I don't know. Maybe I can't remember.
Maybe they'll bring her up like once or twice more with a flashback.
We get to see flashbacks, so I don't know why they wouldn't go back to more flashbacks. They could. I don't really remember.
What's funny is that like that whole flashback scene where he's going back to his cousins is like, how long was that tribe trip? I can't talk today. That trip to Elysia?
Oh, Elisa?
Elisa?
I
thought the L was silent. I was like, man, how are we reading these books today?
I don't even know. I don't even know officially how that would be.
Elysia. No, I don't know. But anywho, like, yeah, I was like, that trip must be so long that this droid is a slow flyer. That they had this, they were able to put that all in.
Several hours. He was just dreaming.
Yeah, he was just tired.
Flashing back for our sake. Thanks, Han.
Probably hallucinating a little bit, and that's why we got these flashbacks.
Very helpful.
Yep.
What else you got, Jazz?
So, I mean, we know Han is the best pilot in the galaxy, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. But the fact that we actually get to, like, read about how he got started in that, the fact that he's so good, he was junior champion, he was able to land this ship himself. And I'm just like, wowie. So, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that we got to see into how he became that? Like his baby steps, basically.
Yeah, no, I love anything that sets up the character's skill in a believable way. And that's why it was a little frustrating in Solo maybe even Most Wanted, that he's a great pilot because he just is. And all he's ever done is drive speeders, but he's going to be a really good pilot in a starship too. And you're like, okay, why though? Like, is he though? Like, he's never trained or had education in that sort of thing. And in this, it's like, oh no, so he's got the instinct. He studied, and I like how he specifically knows that I need to study math in order to be good at making, navigation calculations and all this kind of stuff. I need to know science so that I can fix the engine, and mechanics and engineering and all this kind of stuff. Like, that he actually specifically studies these things. So it's not just that he has an instinct, but he's also very smart and educated in these things. And then he starts out with swoop racing, and then they let him fly the ship a little bit, and then the shuttles, and then like he's really good at this thing. But then he gets the simulation, so now he can practice on other ships. So it builds like a little bit of natural raw talent, but then a lot of actual practical training and education. And I'm like, thank you, I believe this. Like, this explains it. This to me seems justified in why he becomes so good. But a lot of it is that he just is a natural genius at it. Like, he does have this raw talent, but it's not that like he immediately on his first try could fly anything. Like, he actually did work for it too. So I totally appreciate it. Love it.
Yeah, it's not just I'm a quick learner. So
Sure.
I'm gonna piggyback a little bit, and then I may have one part different,
Okay.
but I'll just start with the swoop racing first. The swoop racing thing just reminds me of like, damn, does every kid who's like good in the galaxy, I mean, who becomes something great later on in the galaxy, whether you end up good or bad, like, do you start off with like doing something pod racing, swoop racing? Like,
Well, you got to call Megan out like that. Yeah, I totally copied this. Whatever. I only do that because you know how I drive. So I'm like, I need it. If I'm basing this fanfic OC on actual me, like, she actually has to be a crazy driver in some way.
I can't like attest to that because I have never ridden. But if I ever do, first I'll be like, now this is swoop racing. But
I'll allow it.
Megan, I love you, but I think you're the reason that the Oak Cliff bars exist in the car.
Yeah, hold on for dear life. But I'll do the mom thing too. I'll reach over and like make sure that, when I slam the brakes on, you don't go through the windshield. So
I think the first time I ever drove with you, I like started praying in my head. It was entertaining. It was very entertaining. She's very good, but oh my gosh, it is terrifying. But like, she's really good.
Like, I'm in the zone. I know I can predict what it's like. The Force. It's like Anakin. He sees the people's moves before they make them. I know exactly. Oh, this person's signaling that they're going to get into this lane. I know they're actually going to go over too. So I'm going to actually cut around this way, and there's just enough space that my car is going to fit through there. I'll do it. Like
I feel like I'm not going to die in the car with you, but I'm probably going to have a heart attack. Yeah. If that makes any sense. Like, you're a good driver. You're just kind of terrifying. She knows what she's doing. She's very good.
Yeah. Like Han.
I don't know. So you heard it here first.
Bring it back.
Megan must have Jedi reflexes. So
she has the Force on her side.
But let me just go back to the question now.
Sorry.
No, we're good. As far as the education perspective, that's the point where I'm reading. I'm like, man, is Han like me now? Like, he likes reading action adventure stuff and
oh my gosh, it is like
and
you.
doing math. Unlike me, where I was kind of forced to do math. I was forced to do math, so it's kind of like, I like how that played into like how that makes him a good pilot. You have to know math to become a good pilot. And for some reason, it kept going back to me where Shrike didn't want him learning history. Why is my question. But yeah, him just being educated is like, it already put me to like, okay, well, he's not just like that smuggler off the street, or the street kid that we know who has street smarts.
Hmm.
He really understands street smarts and the book. So when you have those two things, you're going to be an unstoppable force to anything, right? So
Mhm.
I can take a page out of Han's book reading this book. Man, what more do you want me to say about good
Educate
things about
yourself.
Han? Yeah.
And yet he's a skeptic, which is like he has to learn all these practical things and histories, but he
Mhm.
liked the fantasy stories and that kind of thing, except Dulana's like mystical the power, aka the force. He's like, yeah, whatever, okay. So I'm like,
Right. Or
this
was
is a
it in the
complex
beginning
guy.
when, was it the Force, or what was it that
He didn't know how to translate it correctly, and so
yeah,
he called it like I think the power.
the
Was
power
it
of the
the
Yeah,
Force?
he said either the power or the force.
yeah. I was like, oh,
So cute.
it's little Han.
Man.
I
All right,
thought it was
Jasmine.
a
How about
I
you?
thought it was exciting reading about that because, like you said, in Solo and in Most Wanted, it's kind of just there. I mean, in Solo, like he crashed the speeder when they were escaping and whatnot. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then just like out of nowhere, it's like, hey, he can fly, and it's like, I know he didn't learn that much at the Imperial Academy. I'm just like,
Like he joined the academy having never flown anything,
yeah.
and
I mean, like I
then becomes
get,
a ground trooper. Like we never actually see him flying a TIE fighter because that's in
yeah.
a deleted scene. But supposedly, and that in Legends, that's always been his backstory, was that he was a TIE pilot.
Mhm.
Nice.
And so that's why he's actually really good, because TIE pilots have to be good or you'll die.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Solo, he never piloted anything before he joined the academy. And then when he gets there and he's a ground troop and he never learns to fly, and you're like, what? So why are you a pilot? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So I do like that we get more of the backstory, and then, like you said, like, I mean, I guess to like, you know, us everyday people not in this fantasy world, we'd be like, yeah, to pilot anything, you need like mathematics and all that stuff. So the fact that they actually said that in the Star Wars book made me go like, okay, this is pretty cool, because like, in the future, like my younger relatives, if they're like, why should I study this? Then I could pull out this book and be like, because Han Solo did it. And look at him. He's one of the best pilots in the galaxy. This is why you go study your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I really do
Definitely.
like that. I like
Yeah.
that.
I've had friends and family go like get their private pilot's license, and it very much, the tests you have to take very much are calculating on the fly different wind speeds and engine things, and like I just remember them studying it and going over it with them, and it's so mathematical and scientific. And then there's even certain tests you have to pass where it's you're flying blind, and you have to fly by instruments only, which is exactly what this first couple chapters were. He had to land with no windshield, like no port view at
Viewport.
all.
Yeah.
He had to
Yeah.
do an instrument landing. That's an actual thing pilots have to learn, is to do an instrument landing. They put a hood on so that they can't see out the windows, and they're only looking at the instruments. And they have to be able to go in, so that if it's ever, the conditions are ever foggy or something and you can't see the ground, you have to be able to still fly and not hit a mountain and not miss the runway and that kind of thing. So that's a real skill. And so seeing that in the Star Wars version of it, I was like, oh shoot, like
Right.
legit, go Han. That was good.
All right. Last question. I figured I'd keep it kind of simple. Since we're just starting, and then we could get more heavy-handed with the questions for the next two sessions. So Bail Organa.
I love how we like didn't even cover this entire planet that he's on, or Merg, or his girlfriend,
I feel like
or the
there's gonna be
cult, or anything.
I know.
Okay, we'll
I
get
feel
into
like,
it later.
yeah, I feel like we'll definitely get more into it later, because we still have like a whole big chunk of the book left. That's why I figure we'll talk about more of that next time.
Yeah. But yeah, totally. This like little greeting message that plays as you approach the planet. I was like, this totally reminds me of like flying. Anytime you fly to another country, there's kind of like, you know, as soon as you're on the descent, all the little airplane screens will pop up with like the welcome video where it's like, you know, welcome to our country, like please don't take anything or contaminate. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I won't. But it's usually a celebrity or a politician or something that, like most recently New Zealand, it was like the All Blacks, the rugby team. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, or it's Lord of the Rings themed, you know, it's very much like, welcome to our country. And so to have the planets do the same thing, like, oh, your ship's approaching, we're going to play this little intro video, and it's Bale with little baby Leia. I was like, oh, don't look. Like, spoiler alert. So yeah, I thought that was precious. I love that they're dropping Alderaanian ales and you know,
Yep.
just you feel like, we're back in this galaxy. Yes, totally. But yeah, Bale. Anytime you could put Bale cameo in a book or a show or a movie, like I'm there for it. Bale Organa is the best. So yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. Was that the actual question? I just heard his name and I got very excited.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, because I got excited, so I want to know if you guys are excited or not.
Totally excited. Hence the Leia cameo hair today.
Yeah.
No, it was a big surprise. I would not have thought they were going to do something like that, because I mean, we were getting the drops of like Clone Wars, this ship was part of Clone Wars, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like they're even though we haven't had the movies.
Keep in mind, this was before the Clone Wars.
That's crazy. So I'm just like, man, how did this author even kind of try to forecast what it was? And you know, the teardrop of a ship. But I'll make it simple because it's a simple question. We got his full name, I think.
Yeah, we did.
That's
freaking I'm just gonna try to just read it off if I can find it. Bale Prestor Organa. Jimmy freaking Smiths, this is to you. Even prior to you were prior. This book was prior to you playing, but man, Bale Organa, Bale Prestor Organa. Prestor Organa. And he's the viceroy.
I know his title.
The title was just like,
was
whoa,
some crazy thing. I was like, okay.
I was like, man, they really they downgraded your
viceroy and first chairman.
Viceroy and first chairman.
That's what he should have been the whole time in the movies too.
Oh,
wow,
pretty impressive.
So
yeah, that was fun.
I'm excited to see.
I squeezed.
You squeed.
I was like, because I am such a simp for Bail Organa, because he is just such an underrated character. Like, he's an amazing senator. You know, he cares about people. Like, what a dilf. He's so good to his wife. I love their marriage. I love their dynamic. I'm like, yes. I mean, just based off of like some of the Clone Wars stuff that I've like read and seen, I'm just like, the love and loyalty that they have for each other and like the protectiveness of each other, like absolute best friend, husband and wife. I'm like, this man is goals.
And best dad.
Men, if you're watching this and you're listening, that's your goal. Bail Organa, nothing less. Bail Organa, bare minimum.
Yeah, that is goals.
That's goals. That's goals. Ladies, raise your standards to Bail Organa.
Find you a man who looks at you like Bail Organa looks at the galaxy. I don't know.
The way he takes care of Leia, the way he loves his wife Brea.
Yeah, good guy. Good
Find you Bail, be a Bail.
Yeah, I like that he got a little bit in here before we ever even saw him in any of the movies. It was like, oh yeah, we know this is going to be a guy. This is going to be little baby Leia. Alderaan's a thing. Like, let's do it.
It's just so crazy that, you know, like you guys pointed out, this is before the prequels. So before we even see him, get this was just kind of mind-boggling.
Good stuff.
Had I read this before I've seen any of the prequels, then it would have been like, well, what face do you put to this guy?
Mhm.
Because you would know Leia in a way, you would like, you could picture Leia's face in some sort of way, but for Bill you couldn't. And now that I'm on the reverse side of that, you can actually put a
Mm.
face to him.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Yeah.
freaking Smits.
Jimmy Smith, you're a babe. Thank you for blessing us as Bail Organa.
Yeah, it is.
Bail
It is
Presto
fun
Organa.
to Dale Presto Organa to know what he looks like now. But it's got to be fun for you guys to try to imagine the old people like me who read this before we had movies, and it was like, this was what it was. This is all we had, and it was real. Like, this was canon, and we pictured it exactly how we were going to picture it. There were no movie references to try to give us a picture of it. Like,
Yeah,
those
that's
are
insane.
some crazy days. Well,
1997. Here we come.
97, baby. The best year for music. I'm sitting there listening to my Bob reading freaking Han Solo novels. Like, good times.
Oh,
Anyway, we are blasting through this book. So that was chapters 1 through 5. What are we reading next?
6 through 10.
6 through 10 next. And then that will be next week. Let's see, what do we got going on in the meantime? We still gaming? Tumbling? Instagramming?
yeah, we're doing all of it.
Sorry about Tumblr. That's been on hiatus for a while because Jasmine is going through like a lot of personal stuff. So I don't want that seeping into the Tumblr, so it's been kind of quiet on there.
That's fine, but feel free to go check out the old stuff there. Yeah, I've been kind of quiet on Instagram too. Work is getting a little bit crazy, but I've got a story update coming soon and all kinds of fun stuff. But otherwise, pick up this book. It's a really fun read. We're blasting through it in 3 weeks, I think. So next week, 6 through 10, follow along with us. But that is all for now. So Sexy Wookiees, and Dulana can be an honorary Sexy Wookiee.
Hell
From now
yeah.
on,
Of
she
course.
can be part of the gang.
She grew
Of
Sexy
course.
3.
She can be Sexy 3. But she'll have to blast off with us in spirit this week. Let's go. Sexy Wookiees.
I know.